GearSkills86 here. How's it going? It's been a while. I'd like to talk about violence in video games and all the bad rep that video games seem to get. So I'm not really just talking about violence, but I am gonna brush that topic. You know, in the last couple years, there's been a lot of news articles about violent video games and how they affect you. Especially when Jack Thompson was around, but that asshole got disbarred. So thank God for that, because that guy was a fucking douchebag. But you still see every now and again a law trying to be passed to regulate video games more, which is bullshit too. But for the most part, you only hear about video game companies closing down or cutting their staff because of the economy is pretty shitty. Also the government's fault. Hey, we should just blame the government for everything because they're shitty. Violence in video games, yeah. I don't really think violence in video games do affect you. I think they do make you aggressive. But I just don't think that it's aggressive in the sense that it's any more aggressive than playing a sport. Like I'll play basketball and I'll get aggressive from that, you know what I mean, or any sport in general. So I just don't see how you can say the aggressiveness you gain from a video game is any different than what you gain from a sport. And no one tries to regulate sports. No one's like, oh, you gotta be fucking 18 to play basketball or 25 to play football. You're just like basically trying to say that video games are worse, and that's bullshit. Because when you try to say something like, let's say video games can make you fly, you gotta look around and fucking, well, that's a bad idea. Like, if you're gonna look around and say something like, if video games make you want to do drugs, for example, you gotta look around and see what else makes people do drugs. So with violence or aggressiveness, when you say video games make you aggressive, you look around and you look and see what else makes you aggressive. And if you haven't looked through the history of our civilization, you'll notice that we're pretty violent in general. Like, there was 2 world wars way before video games came out. There's people doing crime way before video games came out. Violence didn't just appear when video games came about. And we've been aggressive as a civilization for a long ass time. As far as video games being violence, especially coming from the government, I think it's very hypocritical, because this is the same government that wants you to go into the army and go over to another country and kill people. Yeah. So, I really don't understand that. I think that's fucking bullshit. It makes us more desensitized, I'll agree video games do make you desensitized, but I don't think desensitization is a bad thing. I think people need to be able to stomach life, because if you're gonna be a pussy the rest of your life, well, yeah, you have fun being a pussy then. And another thing too about desensitization is I haven't seen, pretty much, if there is anything extremely violent in a video game, it's not as detailed or realistic as any of the violent things I have seen on the news. For example, I'm pretty sure they showed a decapitation on the news a while back when they had those terrorist things, or when the airplanes fly into the World Trade Centers. I'd say that's pretty fucking graphic. Or you see on the news where all those African kids are starving or missing limbs or holding guns. I see way more graphic shit on the news than I'll ever see in a video game. They're too immersive. Like, as in, some people will get drawn into a game too